It is finally happening. The time has finally arrived where I'm starting the Throne of Glass series. If you have followed along with my channel and followed me on socials, then you will know that this has been a long time coming. I got the whole entire series in a box set from my boyfriend last Christmas, and I have yet to start even the first book. This is one of the most hyped up fantasy series literally in the whole of the book community. I love ahhhh so much. That is one of my favourite little worlds, favourite series that I've ever read, and I don't quite know why it's taken me so long to get around to this book or to starting this series, but I am so excited that I am finally starting it. I did post a TikTok saying that I was starting this book and everybody kind of freaked out. Like, I got so many messages of people being like, you need to tell me what you're starting with, you need to tell me if you're reading this, you need to tell me how far you're in. I had to take like a 5-minute rest just to breathe a little bit. But as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm holding this book up, I am starting with Throne of Glass. I know that there's a whole debate on the reading order, whether to start with Assassin's Blade or Throne of Glass. Sarah J Maas herself did say to go in publication order, and who am I to argue with the literal writer of the books? So I am going to also start with Throne of Glass and go in publication order, which means that I will be reading the Assassin's Blade third. Basically, that whole discourse is because the Assassin's Blade is a prequel about this character and it's about her backstory. So chronologically, it makes sense to read it beforehand so that you like know her, you know the backstory, etc. But in terms of the way that they were published and how Sarah J Maas has intended them to be read, this is first and Assassin's Blade is third. Anyway, yeah, so I'm starting with this one. I'm so excited. I'm excited to get into like a whole new world. I have a very obsessive personality, and when I start a series, I have to finish it. Like, I have to go back to back to back. I'm just gonna be reading these basically until the end of the year now. But we're gonna start with this. Let's just get into it. Let's start reading a little bit. Obviously, I'm expecting the first few chapters to be sort of focused on the world building and setting the world up, introducing the characters. So let's just get into it, guys. Okay, so I am about 50 pages in. I'm on chapter 8. I don't know if this is going to be... I didn't know if this was going to be a full spoiler-free reading vlog or if I'm going to like fully give my whole thoughts, which means it obviously will not be spoiler-free because I'll be talking about the books freely. I think that's what I'm leaning to, just because this is obviously my first time reading them. It's a whole new world, it's a whole new series, and I think I want to be able to just talk about it. But obviously you'll know by the title of this video if I've decided to make it spoiler free or not. But up to now, we are kind of getting little bits and pieces about our main character. I don't know how you actually pronounce the name. Let me look that up.
Selena Sardothian.
Selena. I was thinking it was going to be some like variation of Selena, so Selena makes sense. Okay, yeah, so it is Selena. Selena? Is that right? That's literally what I've just said, I think. Okay, well, anyway, she is basically she's an assassin. She is like the most well-known, most notorious assassin in the whole like kingdom. She essentially is sent to this camp to go and work in the mines as like her punishment, and she has been picked up from those mines, taken out of them, and she arrives at this castle the King's Castle, the Glass Castle, and she basically has been told that she is going to take part in a competition where she has to essentially kind of like do Hunger Games-esque trials, and she's going up against these other criminals, and I think one person is either gonna like die or get kicked out of the trial each week until you are left with like a few of them, and then they basically have to like fight to become the winner, and then whoever is the winner gets sort of like forgiven for their past crimes, because they're all either like prisoners or criminals or thieves, things like that. So they are going to have those past crimes forgotten and become the king's personal assassin. That's kind of where we're at the moment. So we are like building that up, building up our characters. We have met Dorian, but Dorian and Cole, apparently it's pronounced like Kale but with an O, so like, no, chaos but with an L at the end. Kale, so it's Kale, right? I look incompetent, but whatever, we're learning this together. I am already sensing that we're going to be getting a love triangle. Right off the bat, I was like, I feel like I love Dorian, but then I feel like the more that we get into it, Kale is going to be like the dark sort of brooding one. Dorian's gonna, I feel like Dorian is maybe going to be more upfront, because straight away he is like flirting a little bit, like showing his interest, I guess, but like they're gonna have, oh, I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself already. But yeah, so I am just gonna read a little bit more, see how we get on with this. I'm hoping I will be able to read to like 100 pages today, and then already we're like a quarter of the way through the book. So that is my plan. Okay, so they are starting the training sort of like for these trials. So her plan, or not her plan, but Kale's plan, is to kind of fly under the radar for a little bit. She is using an alias at the minute where she goes by Lillian, but obviously her real name is Selena, and she doesn't want people, like her name is like feared, like everybody kind of knows who she is because she was such a high profile assassin, and when she went to the mines everybody knew that she had been like sent to prison, whatever. So she is going by Lillian so that the rest of the competitors, like the rest of the criminals in the competition, don't know who she is, I guess because she's so notorious, and also to kind of, they're just going to disregard her. She's the only girl in the competition against like huge men with like actual like brute force, so she kind of is like flying a little bit under the radar at the minute. Like she doesn't want to put all of her cards on the table, or like she probably would because she's a bad bitch actually, but she's been advised to kind of like, you know, just go undetected. So that's where we're up to at the minute. She is training for the trials, so you're seeing like a little bit of that, a little bit of the other competitors. There's a lot of focus on one in particular that I think it's going to come down to those two. Obviously she is going to like, she has to get to the end of the competition, like that is the whole point. And I think that she's going to go up against this guy called Kane because there just seems to be a lot of focus on him. He is one that is like ginormous, like he's huge. But yeah, that's where we're up to. I am enjoying it so far. I feel like there's just something about a fantasy book that really does grip you in, because you're having to pay so much attention to like the world building and the characters and all these different words and terms that you kind of can't help but focus fully on the book. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to get further in. Okay, so another little update. We have some mysterious deaths going on. One of the competitors has been found dead, and very suspicious circumstances, like not a natural cause of death. So I feel like that is going to become a big part of the plot too. And then we're getting introduced to a few more characters. We have a Princess Nehemia, who, I don't know, basically obviously like in the world building we have the king, and nobody ever likes the kings. Of course they don't, because they're always like, I don't know, they're always just dicks. Like they go and take over kingdoms and kill people and do this, and it's just unnecessary. So people never seem to like the king in a fantasy book, which is what we're having here. Selena does not like him and does not like the sort of royal family as a whole, based on principle, which is why I think it's going to be interesting if her and Dorian do get together or whatever. But we have Princess Nehemia, who is from like a separate kingdom that I believe the king has like, not colonized, like what is the word, like conquered, I guess, their kingdom. So now they're under like his rule and stuff. So we're kind of just getting all these little bits of world building. We're seeing like a friendship between the princess and Selena. Them two are kind of like starting up a thing. I think the princess is going to have more to her than just a surface level pretty little princess. Like I feel like she is going to become, I don't know, they've talked about how she potentially might be trying to like not overthrow the king, but something to do with that. So I don't know if maybe, I have no idea. All I know is that they are currently sparring, like they are fighting together. They can speak in the princess's language that nobody else really understands. So I feel like it's, I don't know, I feel like there's things going on. I honestly have heard a lot of people say that this book, not much happens in it. Like obviously it is setting up the rest of the world and like building that, introducing the characters, sort of setting you up for the plot of the rest of the books, which I feel like is understandable and is expected in a fantasy book. Like it's an 8-book series, so I feel like the first book kind of has to start off building the foundations. So I'm not expecting great things from it, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like I am not expecting to be completely blown away and have like this person killed and this person killed and all these main characters introduced right off the bat, because we've still got another 7 books to go after this. Anyway, let me just get back to it. I'm currently on chapter 18, so I will update you in a little while. Okay, so this is going to be my last little update for today, because I'm actually going to stop reading for a little bit. But we have had another weird death, and we are kind of getting like what I think is obviously going to be the conflict of the book. But basically, what is the word? The competitors, the criminals in the competition are kind of getting picked off one by one and getting killed, but like in a brutal, savage way. Like intestines, brains, gone. They're gone. And then there's also these like weird marks that they keep on talking about, but like magic is like outlawed. Like they kind of talk about the fae and like high fae and things like that, but magic is not allowed. It has been, yeah, outlawed by the king, of course. But we are getting like these little hints of, what are they called? They're called like word marks. So I think they're kind of like, obviously like witchy symbols. So we're getting that. And then the bit that I've just got past, she has found a secret passageway into the bottom of the castle with like these tunnels and things. So I have just got past that bit. I'm on page 191, so I am nearing to halfway. I'm enjoying it so far. Like I said, it's not, I will say I was more gripped with ACOTAR, I think, right off the bat, but obviously ACOTAR is a shorter series. It's not as complex in the grand scheme of things. I don't know, I'm still enjoying it though, and I I fear I may be right with the love triangle situation, just because we're obviously, this is in third person by the way, and ahhhh is in first person, is it? I believe so. So we're kind of getting everybody's point of view. Like, you are obviously sort of feeling what Selena is feeling what Kale is feeling, and feeling what Dorian is feeling at the same time. Like, you're kind of getting little bits and pieces of them all, and I fear we are going to get a colossal love triangle. But yeah, that's where I'm up to at the moment. I will update you if I get a little bit further, how much more I read in the next few days. So I did read a little bit more than I thought I was going to yesterday, and then I showed you. So I'm up to chapter 39. I've got just over 100 pages left. So we are getting obviously towards the end of the book. I feel like a lot has happened, but at the same time not a lot has happened, because obviously it's centering around like the castle and people in the castle and this competition to become the king's assassin. But you're kind of getting little bits that I think are obviously setting up stuff in the books to come. Like, we've got stuff about Nehemia, we've got these word marks, we've got stuff with a ghosty queen. There's something sus about the king, and I think a few of his like lords or whatever, like a few of his people too. Like, things are just seeming a little bit weird, but at the same time it feels like not a lot has outwardly happened in this book. But again, I think we're like setting up obviously the next books. But I'm enjoying it. I really just love Sarah J Maas and her writing style, and I feel like this reads and feels so different to ahhhh. Obviously I haven't read Crescent City, so I can't compare it to that, and I don't know like what the rest of the book's going to be like and stuff, but I am really enjoying it so far. We've had like a few of the main characters, I believe, already mentioned in this book. I mean, the only ones that like when I've read that I've recognised have been obviously Selena, Dorian and Kel, and I feel like I've seen stuff about Sam, and then the only other character that's not been mentioned in this book that I would like know off the top of my head that is in the series is Aelin, but I think she is gonna come into like the next books, unless she obviously comes into this one, but I don't know. The romance is like not even like kicking in, like the romance is not even starting. We've had like little tiny pieces, but not really. I'm getting to a chapter where they're obviously going to be, they're dancing together at a ball, so I'm like, I can't decide already if I want her with Dorian or Kel. But anyway, we're just going to read a little bit more. I really want to finish this morning because I want to start Crown of Midnight literally ASAP, and I have some time to be able to do that today, so that is the plan, that is what I want to do. Let's just read a little bit more. Cope with a love triangle. I hate love triangles, but actually I don't know if I've ever read one in a fantasy book. Oh, apart from ahhhh, but that doesn't even count. I feel like this, either way I'm going to be upset about, I think. Obviously I'm literally on the first book, so I don't know if my thoughts and stuff will change as we go on, but like I kind of want her to be with both of them. I think I want Kale actually. Like, I love Dorian, but I think I want Kale. I still feel like I'm saying his name wrong, but whatever. I forgot to say as well, Selena has got a dog, and I feel like I've seen, like, obviously like fan art and stuff of Selena with the dog oh my god, I was about to say Fleetfoot. I feel like I've seen them together and I love that for her. I'm a dog girly, so give a main character a dog and I'm gonna eat it up. So the bit that I said about this like whole weird thing that was going on with the deaths and the word marks and all this weird freaky magic witchy stuff, we've got like more of that. Like, I feel like that bit has reached its peak a little bit. I feel like this is what I expected to happen, but also I'm like, the way that Sarah J Maas's writes, I'm just obsessed with. They keep mentioning these black rings, and I feel like that's going to have a little bit to do with when I was saying that like the king and a few of his people seem sus. I don't know if the king is going to be involved in what has been happening with Cain. I really don't know. Obviously that lady, what's she called, Lady Caltaine, and the Duke, they also seem sus, and I think they were involved with Cain. But the king, I feel like there's something weird about him, something weird's going on. He'll have probably banned magic and the king will be using magic like for his own gain, but he just banned everybody else from using it. They're the vibes I'm getting. We're going on to the last like 50 pages, and I feel like this is always where her books really like take a turn, and I feel like shit always hits a fan and the last like 50 pages are just wild. So I'm buckling up, I am strapped in, let's go. I'm already getting annoyed at what's gonna happen in like the final duel, if you will. I'm just, oh, I get why, but like I'm kind of pissed off about it. So much is going on. Okay, so she's won. The king is a bit sus. The duke is a snake, and Lady Caltaine she's getting sent to the dungeons. We've got more about Nehemia. We're getting a little bit more about maybe like the portals and things like that, and the word marks. So I don't really know how it's gonna end. Poor Dorian. I'm feeling sorry for Dorian now. I'm just feeling sorry for whichever one is not in favour at the time. On the last page. Okay, I really enjoyed this one. I really liked it. I really liked, like, obviously the world building. I do still kind of stick by the fact that I feel like a lot happened in this book, but not a lot really. Obviously it's centered around the competition, her becoming the king's assassin, and I feel like that's kind of setting up the books to come. So I enjoyed it though. I would probably rate it maybe like just under a 4-star. It's a solid book and a solid start to a series, but I'm not as gripped. We also didn't get a few characters that I was expecting to see like in the series, but I suppose you can't bring them out all in like right off the bat. So hopefully they will come in maybe in the next book. But I enjoyed it. I will say I feel like I was more hooked with ahhhh from the first book, but obviously it's like a little bit lower stakes. It's easier to sort of understand. There's not that this book was complex, but I feel like ahhhh, the magic system and the world as a whole, there's like less characters, less to kind of understand, especially in the first book. And I don't know, but I really enjoyed this one, and I'm gonna go straight on to Crown of Midnight. So maybe I will do another vlog with that one, or like combine a few together. I don't really know what my system is for when I decided to vlog this, but yeah, I enjoyed this book, guys. And obviously I don't know if I'm glad that I read this one first yet, because I haven't read The Assassin's Blade, but we'll figure all of that out. I'm excited to get further into it. I'm excited for the romance, to see what's going on with that, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen now that she is the king's assassin, because I feel like surely she's not going to just like blindly go along with whatever he said. I feel like we're going to get maybe like a little bit more of like the uprising, the sort of like world politics in the next book, because we didn't get much of that in this one. This one just kind of focused obviously on the competition. So I'm excited to see that. I love like politics in books, and when there's sort of like different schemes and plots, everything going on. So, but thank you so much for watching, guys. Obviously that wraps up this reading vlog. I'm excited to get further into the series. Please don't leave any spoilers or anything, but maybe you can like talk about the series or something, I don't know. And if you've read the book, what you thought of the book, and stay tuned for the Crown of Midnight vlog, because that one will be coming next. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.